Today we'll have a look at how to do a simple corner pin effect using Resolve in Fusion. Don't let the Fusion part scare you off. What we'll do in Fusion is very simple. This is the final result that we'll do in Resolve. This is the original clip. We'll not be keying the green, I just used that on the display to add the markers. These markers give the tracker some high contrast elements to track. There's a bit of green spill on the laptop and we'll remove that as our finishing step here. We'll call the laptop clip the base and set the vet with the cat clip the insert. Bear in mind that to get a good track, you must have high contrast elements for the tracker to grab onto. If you're getting a bad track, consider adjusting the clip to have higher contrast elements for the tracker to latch onto. A few comments on the clips. For the clip that we'll insert into the laptop's display, ensure that it's at least as long or longer than your base clip. Fusion's planar tracker that we'll use performs better on a 4K clip than a standard 1080 or 720 clip. The laptop clip was shot with the original pocket camera using Cinema DNG RAW, and it's a 1080 clip. I've superscaled it up to 4K using Resolve Superscale feature to help with the tracking accuracy. Okay, we take our 4K base clip and put it on a timeline. Then we switch to the Fusion page, and we don't need to have the clip selected. Fusion will use whatever clip the playhead is over. If you have multiple clips in the timeline, it will default to the topmost clip. In Fusion, we have Media In 1, a connector line, and Media Out 1. Let's rename the first node to be Base, just for clarity. Select the node and press F2 to rename it. Now, with the base node selected, type Shift plus the spacebar to open the node menu. Type Plan into the search. Now we have the planar tracker. Click on it to make sure it's selected and click Add, and the node is added in between our two existing nodes like so. If no node was selected, it would add the node disconnected. I'll undo the add, and we'll do that now so you can see this. Now we have a node floating around disconnected. If we click and drag it into the node graph while we hold Shift, it'll automatically connect itself like this. Or we could have manually connected it. Holding Shift and dragging the node will remove it from the connectors as well. Or you can hover over a connector, and when the right side turns blue like this, you can click on the right side to remove that connector. Now we can click and drag from the square on the base node, that's its output port, and drag over to the yellow background input on the tracker node. Then grab the square output on the tracker and drag that to the yellow input on the Media 1 out node like this. Obviously, it's much faster to just hold Shift and drag the node to add it between the two nodes, but there are times when we might want to manually manipulate the connector lines in Fusion, so it's good to know you have that option. Now I'll click in the playback timeline in Fusion to get it to a frame that I think will make the best starting point. I want a nice clear view of the display that we'll track. Now I'll click the Reference Time Set button. This tells the tracker where the start of the track is at. I'll change the tracker type to Hybrid Point Area, and that will set a region in the video to track. We click inside the image and we can see we're defining a region to track. We just need 4 points here, and when we get back to the starting point, we get a circle that indicates the region will end here, and we'll click to complete our rectangle. I typically make the area to track larger than the area I'll be putting content into so that the tracker has a better chance at accuracy. Now we click on the Track to Start button and let it do its magic. Once complete, I click the Reference Time Go button to reset the playhead to the start of the tracking, and I click the Track to End button. Once it's done, we can press the left curly brace to go to the start of our timeline and then hit the spacebar to play it back and see how well it did. Right curly brace will take you to the end of the timeline, by the way. Okay, that looks good. Now we're ready to define the corner pin region. I'll click on Go to get to the beginning of the tracked area. I change the operation mode of the tracker to corner pin, and this reveals a trapezoid shape. We can click and drag the corners of the trapezoid to match our screen region on the laptop. Right curly brace again to reset the playback, spacebar to play and see how well it tracked it. Okay, that looks good. Now we can add our content for the screen. I open up the media pool and I drag and drop our insert clip into the node graph like so. Let's rename the node again using F2 with it selected and call it Insert. Now I click on the output square and drag that to the green input of the planar tracker for the corner pin, and voila! We hit playback and there we have it. Okay, let's do one last thing and clean up the green spill on the laptop. For this, we go into the color page. Again, I set the clip to a spot I think will work well with the tracker where all of the keyboard is clearly visible. Right here should do it. We bring up a power window rectangle and we'll fit it to the area of the laptop that we want to remove the green spill from. I've made it slightly larger than the spill area just to have a bit of a fudge factor. Once we're happy with the power window, we switch to the tracker tool and click the double arrow here to track forward and backwards as a single operation. Okay, that's it. Now I'll switch over to the RGB mixer and click on monochrome. Since the laptop is already monochrome in tone, we can get away with this. If the laptop was another color, I'd use the color wheels and push the mids away from green to mitigate the spill. Back on the edit screen, we can play back our footage and see we have a nice solid corner pin and a clean looking laptop with no green spill. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you all have an amazing new year. If you like the video, please consider clicking like as that helps other folks find it. If you want more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Happy New Year, and until the next video, take care.